everyone, welcome to my channel. Just wanted to do a little video, only a short one. As you may notice from everything on my channel and on my Instagram, I've not been around much lately, so just wanted to give an update of where I'm at and what we've got coming up. So last couple of months I've actually been focusing on getting back to work. I've been off work for just over 3.5 years. Whilst having surgeries and getting to grips with this wonderful illness, and that's ended up taking up a lot more of my energy and time than I thought. I'm still going to do a video explaining spoon theory for anyone that doesn't know what that is. It'll give you a sort of a rough understanding of why it can be a bit of a struggle to get some things done when you have some of these illnesses, and that hopefully will shed a bit of light there. So did put up a video the other day of our trip to Jamala Wildlife Lodge. We did that a few months back actually. Unfortunately that weekend wasn't a particularly good one. I was on crutches for the whole weekend, which meant that shooting video was almost impossible other than when I was stationary. So I sat on that video for quite a while, and then it was put to me that was I going to put it up or not, and I wasn't happy. I didn't get the footage I wanted. I was going to have to do voiceover on it, which I don't like doing. And it got put to me by my lovely wife that this is sort of the reason I did this channel, is to show that things don't always go to plan, but that there are ways of getting through and still enjoying the time. I had a great time. It was just exceptionally tiring. And benefit of that being is got an excuse to go back next time. Hopefully I'll be in a better spot. Recently we had to do a last minute trip back to the UK. That set me back a little bit as far as my ongoing ability with my foot and my energy levels. Unfortunately we had a family thing back there that I had to go back for. That again had to rely on a lot of support going back, and I figured I'd just cover that on this because it raises a tricky question, and one that I don't even feel comfortable discussing, which is mobility aids. And they're a bit of a tricky subject. They can be seen, and I certainly did see them, and sometimes do see them as an indication that I'm losing as far as against the illness. And that it's depriving you. And there's a great article that someone I follow on Twitter and on Instagram put up recently. She's called the Seated View, well worth checking out. She's got some great information on there, and it raises the fact about we look at some mobility aids incorrectly, especially if we've never used them until later in life. And it's not so much that they're an indication that you've had something taken away from you as far as mobility, but in actual fact it's something that's giving you back your mobility and more of your independence. I for one would not have been able to do the trip that we just did without my crutches. I couldn't have done it. And if I look at it that way, I won, not the illness. Yes, it was tiring, but it was well worth doing. The issue comes with airports, and I don't think people stop sometimes and think, I classified myself as relatively able-bodied up until I got sick, and you see the buggies whipping around, and you think, oh yeah, that'd be cool, get whisked around. Funny enough, found out in most of the airports that's not the case, especially in Sydney. They don't have buggies. Unfortunately, it's very old wheelchairs. And I felt quite bad for the lady having to push me around the airport given my size, and it's an odd position. I've been put into a wheelchair a few times, for being moved around airports, and you will not believe sometimes how far you have to travel. When we landed at Heathrow, it's a 25-minute walk from the gate we landed at to the immigration desk. I couldn't have done that after that long a flight. It's unbelievable. They do have buggies there, thankfully, but you just got to sort of herd it along like cattle. And I think that's actually where there is an issue with the support that they give you at the airports. It's very much, you sort of become baggage. It's an odd experience, and I apologise to anybody that uses a wheelchair on a regular basis. It's only a fraction of what you've probably had to experience, but it's quite a humbling thing, and I think people should probably all do it at some point, just to see how your perspective changes, but people's perspective of you changes. You sort of, because you're no longer at eye line, you're sort of not the direct person that gets spoken to. I generally find that my wife gets spoken to ask questions, but I'm sitting right there. There is a caveat to that. There are certain countries, and I'm not going to specify what religion or anything like that, but suffice to say, on our honeymoon, we experienced the fact where they were a little bit torn because they don't speak to people with mobility issues or those kind of problems in the same way as they would do a normal man, but they also don't like speaking to women because the man makes the choices about things. And yeah, it sent them into a bit of a infinite spiral of not really knowing who to speak to, so they ended up sort of speaking into midair and hoping one of us would respond. I don't know the solution to that. I don't know if there is a solution. But, it enabled me to be able to do that trip, and I felt terrible judgment from people while I'm getting wheeled around, because yes, I can walk. Yes, I'm having to use crutches, but I have a finite range of energy, and that changes on an hourly and daily basis. And I could be fine to do a 15-minute walk one day and struggle to do a 2-minute walk the next day. So you have to, I would say, swallow your pride, but I don't think that's the right term. So if you know what the right term is, then feel free to put it in the notes below. I'm lost for words on that one. But, I had to accept that help, and I'm English and a man, so asking for help is not something that we generally do. But I couldn't have done the trip without it. So if you're going through anything similar, and you've got a trip like this coming up, please ask for the assistance. You can pre-book it with the airlines, or you can ask for it at the desk. There are some downsides to it, as I've said. You sort of run on their schedule and you get sort of pushed around, but it saves so much energy that gets sapped out of you by doing these kind of flights and everything else involved. So it was definitely eye-opening, and to then come back and see this article from Lene, who put up this article on the Seated View, it made me look at my walking aids in a slightly different way. So at work, I'm having to take them with me just in case. Ideally, I try and get through my reduced shift at the moment without them, but it's not always happening. But doesn't mean I still can't do my job. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there for anyone that's going through something like this, or has a walking aid potentially in their future. There's a couple of ways of looking at them, and it's better to look at what it's giving you than what it's signifying, if that makes any sense. But anyway, moving on from that, next big thing, I've got a new camera. So I'm now shooting this on Sony ZVE10, so in theory 4K. I will see how my video editing skills, which, sorry, they've not got any better yet, but I will do a course at some point. We'll see how this edits up. Next big trip, funnily enough, going back to the UK. This one was actually planned last year, so we're cracking on ahead. I'm a little bit worried that I'm not potentially physically in the best spot for this yet, but we'll battle on through. But I'm going to try and get footage where I can in that, although a lot of it may end up being voiced over, so we'll see. But that's towards the end of July. We're doing UK, 3 of the Greek islands, so Santorini, Ios and Mykonos. I used to work on Ios, so it's going to be cool to go back and see the guys there at Miloportis Water Sports and the dive centre there. And then we're going to do a little whistle-stop tour around Wales. So I'm hoping I can get quite a lot of footage. It's not going to be uploaded while I'm out there and going, because I'm not going to have the energy or the time, I think, actually, to do anything there. So I'm going to have to wait to get it all back home on a lot of memory cards, ingest it all, and work out how to make a not too boring few videos out of that. Have got the odd little trip here and there, so planning on trying to get out and do a little bit of shooting, especially up in the Blue Mountains, things like that. Weather has turned, it's got cold. I mean, it's only about 7 degrees, but for Australia that's cold, and certainly feeling it. So yeah, it might be a bit shaky, some of the footage, we'll see how we go. But other than that, thanks for sticking with me. We'll get more stuff going up on the channel. Please feel free to reach out to me on my socials or in the comments below. It'd be great if you could give this video a like and subscribe. I have no idea. They're all meant to go like up there. I don't know. I haven't got someone doing that for me. I've got to figure it out later. So wherever the button is, if you could do that, that would be great. And yeah, thanks for joining me on this journey. And yeah, lots more stuff coming up soon, and a bit more of a regular posting schedule. So thanks very much. Take care.